Welcome, students of Form 3, and we're talking about the structure of government, and we're especially talking about the judiciary, and just made the first video of 3 about this topic of the judiciary. So judiciary is that part of government, so we have the legislature, and we have the executive. This is the third one, judiciary, and they administrate and interpret laws. They interpret and apply legislature. So the legislature, the parliament has written it, and this judiciary has to apply it in real life situations. Again, if you're following this from Barbados, Jamaica, or Belize, or other parts of the British speaking Caribbean, or the CARICOM Caribbean, this could also be very helpful for you. And we're talking about describe the judiciary within the structure of government, like you can see roughly over here. Yeah? Okay. Then, in this video, in the former video, we talked about the different levels of judiciary. We also talked about what the judiciary does. Looking at the book right now, sanctions can be handed out by the judiciary and disputes can be resolved by the judiciary. So sanctions handed out and disputes resolved by the judiciary. But like I've shown you just now in this pyramid, in the former video, there are different levels of the judiciary, and you can find those different levels in this table on page 44 of your book, actually, this table. And that's also over there at that table. So you have 5 levels. Magistrates court, that like on an island, each island probably has a magistrates court. Then you go one level higher, a criminal division. That's if you've really done something wrong, you've robbed a supermarket, or you've caused real pain with another human being. Then the civil division, when you have disagreements with your neighbors or another person. Then you have a court of appeal. You can go one level higher than these two. You can go into appeal. In Dutch we say you kunt in beroep. And the highest level that you can go in the Caribbean is the so-called Caribbean Court of Justice. That's the highest level you can actually go. Yeah? So let's begin at level 1. What does happen there? Trials in a magistrate's court are called summary trials, and they try minor criminal offenses. You did something small, you didn't obey to the law, but you're young, you're below 18, that's why you're minor, and they investigate into criminal or indictable offenses, such as murder and rape, pretty intense already, and they conduct investigations into unnatural death. This is what a magistrate's court does. Then one level higher is the High Court, the Criminal Division. They are serious offenses, and they've conducted preliminary inquiries, one level higher. Then this level, they settle disputes between citizens, civil matters such as divorce and property disputes. Then we have a higher court of appeal. They consist of a panel of 3 judges. And if the person does not believe they got a fair trial level lower, for instance, the magistrates or the high court, they may have their case reviewed and checked, and it can be upheld, so it can stay the same. It can be reversed, so you lose your punishment, or it can even be increased. So at this level of the Court of Appeal, it can go all kinds of directions. You can get the same punishment as you got before, you can lose your punishment, or you can even get a more increased punishment. You do not know what actually is going to happen. And then we have the highest court, the Caribbean Court of Justice. That's below. Yeah. And the final court of appeal, if you have the money for a lawyer, yeah, you can go to a final court of appeal. Yeah. And you cannot go any higher than that. And sometimes there's also an international tribunal when countries have disagreements, like for instance Guyana right now with Venezuela. I can imagine that they can go to the Caribbean Court of Justice, or border disputes between Guyana and Suriname right now. You should better go to the Caribbean Court of Justice and cast a verdict about this. How the court system works. So we have a court system. Perhaps you've watched a television show like Suits or other television shows or Law and Order. So courts, they hear both I presume it's like the victim and the civil and criminal cases. So you have two kinds of cases. There's civil, that means between two citizens, they have a disagreement, or also criminal cases. So they're not all about robberies or murders, some also about disagreements about land or garbage disposal between citizens, and they're called civil cases. So again, if you have a dispute between two citizens, you have a civil case. A criminal case is more like something of a robbery, an atraco. And in such countries such as Jamaica, a justice of the peace will mediate in certain cases. So you have like a mediator to avoid people entering the court system unnecessarily. So before you enter court, you can call in the help of a justice of the peace. Civil cases and criminal cases, we also talked about that here. Civil cases are brought by one individual, group, or organization against each other if one party feels wronged by another. Wronged by another in some way. So here we have wrong. They are not felt treated correctly. Wronged by another in some way. And when I finish this word, another, then we also have criminal cases. Voila. Ain't that beautiful? Criminal cases are brought forth by the police against an individual or group. So criminal cases are brought forth. They have been discovered, have been proven by the police against an individual or a group or a company or organization if it is believed that the law has been broken. If it is believed that the law, let's use black for this, the law has been broken. And these cases are being prosecuted by the state. So the state prosecutes against a person, a group, or an organization. So these cases are prosecuted by the state. El gobierno. That's really important. These cases are prosecuted by the state. Okay, so we've seen courts hear both civil and criminal cases. Civil cases are brought forth by one individual, group, or organization against another if one party feels wronged by another. Criminal cases are brought forth by the police against an individual or group or organization if it is believed that the law has been broken. These cases are prosecuted by the state. Again, if you found this helpful from outside of the Caribbean, this could also be helpful for you because I also make use of the so-called CXC program. And here is a did you know? So in your book, on the side, actually over here, there's a did you know at page 44. There's a did you know? The Privy Council in London, that's in the United Kingdom, remains the final court of appeal for most English-speaking Caribbean countries. The final court of appeal, like the highest level you can go for Cas di Corte, you have to, when you live in the Commonwealth Caribbean, in the British Caribbean, you have to go to Britain. There is the final court of appeal. And this is called the so-called Privy Council. What we've done during this video, we've talked about the judiciary interprets and administers, applies the law. And because they are difficult to read, they also interpret them. 2, the court system consists of magistrate courts. 2, the High Court, the Appeal Court, and the Caribbean Court of Justice. When you go to the Caribbean Court of Justice, mainly this one, it is not sure actually what will happen. It can be reversed. So happy, happy, joy, joy, you lose your punishment. It can confirm it, so you don't gain anything, you don't lose anything, but it can also be increased your sentence. So you don't, and even reduced, but you don't actually, you can go both ways when you go to this Caribbean Court of Justice, like you can see here. CXC, if you watch this from out of Curacao, and we're working on describing a judiciary within the structure of government. Enjoy your day, your afternoon, or your morning. Hope to see you soon during class.